There are moments in life when people you love trust and depend on suddenly walk away. Maybe a friend you thought would always be there stopped calling. A coworker you helped get promoted turned their back on you. A relationship you invested your heart in ended unexpectedly. It hurts. It feels unfair. But here's the truth. When people walk away, God already has someone prepared to take their place. You're never left empty-handed when you trust the one who writes your story. Sometimes God allows people to walk away because their part in your life is over. They were only meant to take you to a certain level. If they had stayed longer, they might have held you back. It's not rejection, it's direction. God never subtracts without adding, never removes without replacing, and never closes one door without preparing another. Let's look at 4 key truths that will help you stand strong and keep your faith when people walk away. When people walk away from your life, it can feel like the ground beneath you just shifted. You replay the moments, the conversations, the laughter, the promises, and you wonder what went wrong. Maybe you gave your best, maybe you were loyal, maybe you were there for them when no one else was, and yet they walked away. It hurts because it feels personal. But I want you to hear this deep down in your heart. Their leaving was not random. It was part of God's plan. Nothing takes God by surprise. He's not sitting in heaven saying, "Oh no, they left. What are we going to do now?" No, He already saw it coming. Before you were born, He knew every person who would walk into your life, and He also knew every person who would walk out. And He designed it all to work for your good. That means even the walkaways are working toward your destiny. There are people who are meant to be with you for a lifetime. But there are also those who are only meant for a season. Some are there to help you get started, to teach you lessons, to help shape your faith. But they can't go where God is taking you next. If they stayed too long, they might keep you comfortable. They might limit your growth, or they might distract you from your next level. God, in His wisdom, allows separation to create elevation. Think of it like this. A rocket cannot reach space without dropping off the boosters that helped it rise. Those boosters aren't bad. They serve their purpose. But if they stayed attached, they'd keep the rocket from going higher. Some people were never meant to go into your next atmosphere. Their role was to help you lift off, not to land with you. And when they detach, it doesn't mean failure. It means you're still going higher. It's human nature to resist loss. We want to hold on to what's familiar because it feels safe. We think, if I could just make them stay, if I could just fix it. But sometimes, what you're trying to hold on to is the very thing God is trying to move out of your way. He knows what conversations you didn't hear. He knows what's in their heart. He knows that their absence will bring a presence that's better for you. In the Bible, Abraham had a nephew named Lot. They started their journey together. God called Abraham to a great destiny, to become the father of many nations. But along the way, strife broke out between their herdsmen. The land couldn't sustain them both. Abraham didn't fight to keep Lot. He said, "You go one way, and I'll go the other." It wasn't long after Lot departed that God spoke again to Abraham and revealed His full promise. Notice, God didn't speak until after Lot left. That separation was necessary for the revelation. You may be in an after Lot season right now. Someone just left your life. A friend, a business partner, a relationship. It's painful. You don't see the reason yet, but you have to trust that God does. He doesn't take without replacing. He doesn't remove without restoring. You might not hear His next instruction until you stop chasing who walked away. Sometimes we think that the people who leave define our worth. We wonder, was I not good enough? Was I not lovable enough? Was I too much? But their exit says nothing about your value. It says everything about your season. Don't measure your worth by who stays. Measure it by the fact that God never leaves. The same God who allowed them to go has someone else prepared to walk in. You see, when people walk away, you're not losing your source. You're just losing a channel. God is your source. People are just the instruments He uses. When one person stops playing, He can raise up another to take their place. If you're focused on the instrument, you'll miss the music God still wants to make through your life. When you lose someone, you may feel empty, but that emptiness is not punishment, it's preparation. God removes what's not meant to fill you so He can pour in what's meant for you. The departure created space, and now that space is ready for divine replacement. Think about Joseph. His brothers betrayed him and sold him into slavery. He could have become bitter, angry, and resentful. But what looked like abandonment was actually advancement. God used that betrayal to place Joseph in Egypt, where he would later save nations from famine. The very ones who walked away were the reason he stepped into his destiny. What if God is doing the same in your life? What if the ones who left were the key to positioning you for promotion? It's easy to get stuck in, why? Why did they leave me? Why did this happen? But faith says, even if I don't know why, I trust who? God knows the whole picture. He's writing your story with divine precision. Every chapter, even the painful ones, leads to a purpose. Maybe you're still healing from someone's absence. You see their name and your heart aches. You pass a place you used to visit together and memories rush in. You feel like something's missing. But what's missing to you is making room for what's coming. You can't receive the new while clinging to the old. God's replacement can't arrive while your hands are full of what used to be. Let them go gracefully. Bless them as they leave. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to chase what God has dismissed. Remember this, when God subtracts, He's not trying to hurt you. He's trying to multiply you. The subtraction is a setup for greater addition. When Judas walked away from Jesus, it looked like betrayal. But that departure led to the cross, the greatest act of redemption in history. Without Judas's exit, there would have been no resurrection. Even betrayal was woven into God's plan. If God could turn betrayal into salvation, He can surely turn your loss into a blessing. The truth is, every person in your life plays a role. Some are there to teach you faith. Some are there to stretch your patience. Some are there to show you love. And some are there to leave so you can discover who your true source is. You'll never know God as provider until someone stops providing. You'll never know Him as comforter until someone you relied on is no longer there to comfort you. Their leaving reveals His presence. Don't let what walked away keep you from walking forward. God's plan for your life doesn't end with their departure. It begins. The absence you feel today will make sense when you see what He brings next. You may not understand now, but one day you'll look back and say, if they hadn't left, I wouldn't be here. If they had stayed, I would have missed this blessing. Keep trusting even when it doesn't make sense. Keep believing even when you feel broken. You're not being rejected, you're being redirected. God is removing who can't go where He's taking you. When the wrong people leave, the right ones will appear. And when you finally step into your next season, you'll thank God not just for who came, but also for who walked away. Because you'll realize their leaving wasn't loss. It was liberation. It was part of a greater plan to move you closer to your destiny. And through it all, God never left your side. When someone walks away, our natural response is to focus on what we've lost. We think about the conversations that won't happen, the dreams we shared, the plans we made. It's easy to get trapped in the feeling that something good has been taken from us. But what we often fail to see is that God never removes without replacing. And when He replaces, it's always with something better. The loss you feel today isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of an upgrade. God knows exactly what kind of people you need to fulfill your purpose. He knows who will encourage you, who will pray with you, who will stand with you when times are hard. The ones who left might have been a blessing for a season, but they can't compare to what God is preparing for your next season. Sometimes we get stuck mourning relationships that no longer fit where we're going. They may have been perfect for where you were, but not for where you're headed. God will never allow someone to leave your life unless He has already prepared someone better suited for your destiny. Think about Joseph. His brothers didn't just walk away. They betrayed him. They sold him into slavery and left him to suffer in a foreign land. For years, it seemed like Joseph had lost everything: his family, his freedom, his position. But even in that loss, God was working behind the scenes. Every step of the way, from the pit to the palace, God was preparing divine connections. In prison, Joseph met the cupbearer who would later introduce him to Pharaoh. That introduction changed everything. One moment, Joseph was forgotten; the next, he was promoted to the second most powerful man in Egypt. What looked like abandonment was actually alignment. God used the loss of his brothers to bring him to people who would open doors to his destiny. That's what God does. He replaces loss with purpose, pain with promotion, and separation with divine connection. You might be in that between season right now. The people you counted on aren't there anymore. The ones you thought would support you are silent. The friends you thought would stay forever have drifted away. It's tempting to believe you've been forgotten. But if you could see what God is arranging behind the curtain, you'd stop crying and start thanking Him. Every ending is secretly the beginning of something greater. You may have lost a friend, but God is sending a confidant. You may have lost a business partner, but God is aligning you with a kingdom-minded connection that will multiply your vision. You may have lost a relationship, but God is preparing someone who won't just love you. They'll help you grow, protect your peace, and honor your purpose. Don't be afraid of divine replacement. God doesn't do equal exchange. He always brings something better. The person who left may have been good, but God's next connection will be great. They may have liked you, but the next person will value you. They may have tolerated you, but the next one will celebrate you. Sometimes the reason God allows someone to leave is because they can't handle your future. They're comfortable with your now, but not your next. They were fine with the old version of you. But the growth God's about to bring would have made them insecure. So rather than let them pull you down, God allowed them to walk away so you could rise higher. It might look like you've lost something, but in reality, you've been released into something better. God is pruning your relationships so He can promote your destiny. The empty space left behind is not a void. It's a vacancy for his next divine connection. When David was rejected by King Saul, it looked like a setback. Saul turned against him, tried to kill him, and forced him to flee. But God replaced Saul with a kingdom, with honor, and with a legacy. The rejection was the redirection that led David to the throne. So don't mourn too long over who left. If they were supposed to stay, they couldn't have gone. Their departure was necessary for your development. God will never let the right people walk away. When someone exits, it means their part in your story has been completed. In time, you'll see how God used what felt like loss to bring something so much greater. You'll meet the new people He sends, and you'll say, "Now I understand. Now I see why that person had to leave." When God replaces, He does it with divine precision. He knows what you need in this next season. Not what your emotions want, but what your destiny requires. Trust His timing. Trust His choices. Don't chase who left. Prepare for who's coming. The friends God sends will have your heart. The connections He arranges will push you closer to purpose. The opportunities He opens will fit you perfectly. So instead of asking, "Why did they go?" start declaring, "God, thank you for what's next." Because when people walk away, God's replacements are always better, stronger. When someone walks away from you, especially someone you loved, trusted, or supported, it's easy to let bitterness take root. The pain feels personal. You gave your best, and it feels like they threw it away. But here's the truth. Bitterness doesn't just poison your peace, it blocks your blessing. You can't move into what God has for you if you're still holding resentment toward who left you. Bitterness is like carrying a heavy weight that God never asked you to carry. Every time you replay the hurt, every time you think of what they said or did, you add another stone to your heart. Soon, it's not just about them. It's affecting your joy, your relationships, even your faith. You can't walk freely into your future when you're chained to yesterday's pain. Forgiveness isn't saying what they did was okay. It's saying, "God, I'm not going to let this hold me hostage anymore." When you release bitterness, you're not excusing them. You're freeing yourself. You're making space for God to bring the healing, the new connections, and the blessings that can't come while your heart is closed. The truth is, bitterness blinds you. It makes you see everyone through the lens of pain. The next person God sends, you'll push away because you're afraid of being hurt again. The new opportunity He opens, you'll doubt because the last one ended badly. But when you choose forgiveness, you're telling God, "I trust you more than I trust my feelings. I believe you can bring beauty out of this pain." Look at Jesus. When Judas betrayed Him, He didn't become bitter. He didn't spend time defending himself or trying to make Judas stay. He simply kept moving toward his purpose. That's what forgiveness does. It keeps you moving forward. It refuses to let betrayal define you. Maybe someone walked away from your life without explanation. Maybe they hurt you deeply. But don't give them the power to stop your growth. They might have walked away physically, but don't let them live in your heart rent free. Every moment you spend replaying the past is a moment stolen from your future. Bitterness says, "They don't deserve my forgiveness." But grace says, "I'm forgiving them because I deserve peace." You can't live a joyful, abundant life while you're carrying grudges. You can't receive what God has for you when your hands are full of anger. The Bible says, "Let all bitterness, wrath, and anger be put away from you." Why? because God knows it's poison to your spirit. It will drain your energy, cloud your mind, and distance you from His voice. When you let it go, you create room for blessings to flow. Maybe you were misunderstood, mistreated, or left behind. But the same God who saw your tears is also the one who promises restoration. He will make it up to you. But you must keep your heart clean. Don't let what they did block what God wants to do. When you release bitterness, you step out of victimhood and into victory. You start walking with confidence again. You start dreaming again. You start believing again. God can heal every wound, but He needs you to open your heart and let Him. So today, make a decision. I'm not going to let who left me make me bitter. I'm going to let it make me better. Because every time you choose love over anger, grace over resentment, and peace over payback, you position yourself for God's next blessing. Remember, you can't receive God's replacement while clinging to resentment. Let go of the bitterness, and you'll make room for His better. The ones who hurt you may never apologize, but that's okay. God saw it all, and He will vindicate you. When you forgive, you're not losing, you're gaining freedom. The day you release the bitterness is the day your heart becomes fertile ground for new beginnings. So stop carrying what God already told you to put down. Lift your eyes, trust His timing, and walk forward. Because what's ahead of you is far greater than what's behind you. When people walk away, it may feel like a painful ending, but in God's eyes, it's a divine beginning. Every departure is part of a larger plan. He sees what you can't see, and He knows what's waiting on the other side of your loss. The one who walked away didn't take your destiny with them. What God has planned for you cannot be stolen, canceled, or destroyed by anyone's decision to leave. Maybe right now you're standing in the ashes of something that used to be beautiful. A friendship, a relationship, a dream. You're asking, God, why did this have to happen? But just because something ended doesn't mean your story is over. Sometimes God closes a door because He's about to open one that's much bigger. You think you lost something important, but you're about to find out that God Himself is your greatest gain. He's the God who restores, replaces, and redeems. The friends that left, the people who walked away, the support that faded, He's not done. He's preparing something better, stronger, more aligned with who you're becoming. The right people will show up at the right time. The right opportunities will appear when you least expect them. The love, peace, and favor you thought you lost will return in greater measure. Don't get stuck replaying the past. Don't let bitterness or sadness keep you from seeing the new thing God is doing. Your job is not to chase what left. Your job is to stay faithful where you are. Because while you're waiting, God is working. While you're healing, He's arranging. While you're letting go, He's preparing what's next. So lift your head, dry your tears. Trust that the God who saw them walk away is the same God who will send the right ones to walk in. You are not abandoned. You are being advanced. You're not forgotten. You're being favored. Every goodbye in your life is simply making room for a greater hello. So don't mourn too long over who left. Start rejoicing for who's coming. Because when people walk away, God will always replace them, not with something equal, but with something exceedingly, abundantly better.